Whenever I have elder advisors on the show, I get a lot of emails and people with a lot of questions. You can have those answered with elder advisors, and the gentleman to my left is Mr. Larry Weiss, who is the owner and the president of Elder Advisors. Don't go broke in a nursing home. That kind of says it, because I think people don't realize it's going to happen sooner or later, and when it does, there's a lot of layers here, and that means a lot of money unless you know how to, I'm not going to say bypass the rules. You got to know the rules.
We work within the rules.
Play rules that are beneficial to you, right?
Yeah, and you know, the older I get, the wiser my dad becomes. And I'm blessed. I still have both my parents, and Dad said, know one thing and do it well. This is what we do. We help families, give them peace of mind, and you know, there's always the financial component, but it's just a peace of mind. We're doing our workshops next week. I got the okay from Kevin Harned. I was invited to the inner circle of the weather chamber with Kevin Harned, his weather team.
That's pretty cool.
Why go anywhere else but Wave 3 Weather, Kevin Harned? Much like John Ramsey for television, Kentuckiana, it's right here.
You know, that little weather cave is kind of exclusive. Like, I've been here 12 years. Kevin's never invited me. Never been invited. No. Because you got Doppler radar. You got,
yeah, right?
Yeah, you got all the ISO bars.
There's a little piece of paper taped up. No John Ramsey. And I'm like, I'm comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Okay,
it's because I love you.
Let's talk about some of the layers. Obviously, layer number one is, look, you've heard rumors about, you know, $15,000, $10,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month, and those are real. It's real money.
Crazy.
So number one is, first of all, you're going to help people hold on to those assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just take the stress off people's shoulders, because I've got a gentleman that's coming in today. I talked to him yesterday. He knows everything about his business. He knows nothing about this business. And he said, I'm just turning it over to you, and that's what you do. And I appreciate that. And it's actually a referral, which is gold. You know,
it worked for them. They wanted to work for a friend.
Right. And so much of our business is generated from the medium of television. John Ramsey, Wave 3. Who doesn't love Wave 3 John Ramsey? I know I do. But yeah, when you get a referral from someone, it's like, look, we sadly went through this a year ago with our mom. Why don't you call these guys? He answered the phone, which is refreshing, Kentuckiana. How many people out there are just stymied with, well, the phone, they went to voicemail or they got disconnected? When you call us, if we don't answer, we return the call in mere minutes, because this is stressful stuff. But there's a financial component that we help families protect assets so they don't go broke in a nursing home. If it's a husband and wife, we can help the family keep all the, all the assets for the at-home spouse. If it's a single person, about half of the assets. But also, more than that, Autumn, our placement angel, helps families with placement. Because let me tell you what, placement is a four-letter word. It's a bad word. It's tough.
It is tough.
It is very tough, and Autumn has really excelled at finding and developing his relationships to find forever homes for clients, because it is very tough. Lindsay, the senior vice president of the company, who's sadly my boss now. I'm not happy about it, but you know, it's turn of the life.
That's the way it goes.
Circle of life. Yeah. She's up in Greensburg, Indiana today, visiting a patient doing personal care. You know, she's an advocate as a personal care coordinator. She advocates for families. She visits with families, and she just brings a different perspective. When she's visiting a client in the nursing home, it's different than when mom or the brother goes in. When she goes in as an independent advocate, everybody takes notice of that, and she can ask questions that most people don't think about to advocate for the family. And that's something that we've been able to bring to the table since Lindsay's been on with us for, you know, coming on 2 years now. So there's a lot that we do, and I got to tell you, you know, I'm blessed. I'm living, I'm not existent. And to see everybody at Elder Advisors, you know, if I start rattling off names, I'll forget someone. So I'll just say they all do a great job, because it is a team effort. There's now, I think, 8 of us now. We've got another person coming on the 1st of March. Lindsay told me we're hiring this person. You know, I didn't even get a choice. I mean, she's just running my life now. You know, we're bringing this person on board, Larry, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I can see the need for expansion.
It
because
is.
The reason this partnership has been so good between Wave and Elder Advisors is because we raise awareness about all the different layers and the things that you guys take care of and make it turnkey, and as you said, give you peace of mind. Okay, we talked about asset protection. We talked about how tough placement is. There's, do I need to sell the house kind of questions.
Right.
There's, look, mom needs special care. Dad has a certain issue, whether it be dementia or something that's unique to him. All of these things you guys take care of.
Well, we do, and we certainly try very hard to accomplish that. The gentleman I'm working with today, mom is at home. He already flat out said she should be in care 6 months ago, but she has dementia, and you know, he said she's kind of acting out a little bit. And I said, well, but he said, well, she hasn't had any violent episode or struck anybody. I said, well, that's really good, because much like, you know, the Seinfeld Seinfeld reference, and they're writing in the little book. What are you writing? What are you writing? What are you writing? Oh, you can't see. If it's in the book, it's in the history. It's in what I think Autumn would call the clinicals, and it makes placement much more difficult if there's been episodes like that. So it makes our job more difficult, but it also makes our job more important for clients to engage us because they cannot navigate this themselves, or if they can, it's going to be a much longer road to hoe trying to do it themselves.
Yeah, and let's talk about something that I think people are very aware of. Is that, you know, when it's personal, that means emotions are involved.
Yeah.
And what you guys do is level-headed, save you money, and take the stress off. Because I think a lot of times the family dynamic can be complicated. You've dealt with this.
Yeah.
One of them is trying to be like, okay, I own this, I've got it. Mom trusts another one more. Dad is going, I've got it. You know, you guys can help navigate this.
John, this is once again, not that the viewing public of Kentucky and Wave 3 needs a reminder of what an erstwhile intelligent TV host you are.
Thank you so much,
But
Larry.
you really did hit the nail on the head, because one of the first questions I ask families, you know, if I've got mom and the daughter there, I'll ask mom. I said, well, you know, how many kids do you have? And she says, well, I've got 3, and she may have her daughter there. And I said, well, what about the other 2? And they'll say Mary and Susie or whatever. And I say, does everybody get along? And more often than not, they kind of look at me, and they're like shocked that I ask. And I said, you know what? Family dynamics is extremely important. That's what you were alluding to. Because if there's a problem, it's only going to get worse. And we got to kind of get around it, deal with it, address it. So the family dynamic is very important. And sometimes mom is being fed the barbershop law that we talk about. You know, the information families are being told at the barbershop, at the McDonald's Coffee Club every morning from 7 to 9. And it's well-intentioned, but it's wrong, Kentuckiana. All it does is stress you out.
So at your workshops, do you deal, like, okay, I mentioned this one, and maybe you can address this now. It's like, I've heard I'm going to have to sell the home. Barbershop law, everyone's told them, I got to sell the home.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true, right?
Often it's not the case. Or if we do have to sell the home, we're going to do it on the family's terms, which are always much better than someone else's terms, and get maximum dollar for it so you don't have to. You know, I'm not an attorney. I'm also not a fireman. You know, I'm also not a doctor either. I'm also not Garrett Moore. But we've invited Robert Marshall. He's a tax CPA attorney. He'll be doing our guest at the Kentucky workshop next Monday. And Laura Williams at the Tuesday workshop for the Indiana folks in Clarksville. So we're delighted. The weather is looking really good. You know, I think Kevin, you know, he likes to throw his big words. It's an upward trajectory of a warming trend. I guess that means it'll be nice next week. I don't know.
I think it will be.
Yeah, right? So we'll have good weather, Kentucky, and there's no reason not to come out Monday and Tuesday. It's worth an hour of your time. It's fast-paced. We're going to have fun. You're going to learn something. Whether you like it or not, you're going to learn something.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you know, the family dynamic is unique to everyone, but there's a lot of unique things that go on when it comes to entering a senior facility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so will there be a Q&A session?
There's always a Q&A session. It is fast-paced, and I try to tell the folks, the attendees, you know, I want you to ask a question, but then we got to keep moving on, because I want it over. I want to be able to help the people, because I had a situation where the guy just, let's just say he was very inquisitive. And it got to the point where a guy is like, here, I'm going to go ahead and make my appointment. This guy just keeps going on and on and on. So I try to do what I can, say, sir, that's why you want to come in for the private consultation next week, because then we'll talk about those special family dynamics, because everybody's is different. So we want the questions asked, but we get into the soap opera stuff, save it for next Monday and Tuesday.
The workshops are very popular, and that is because there's so many unknowns, and that's what you do. Is like, okay, we're going to rip off the curtain.
Yep.
The wizard's right here.
That's right. He's standing right there, fully clothed, because we're respectable people.
But it is good information.
Yeah, and
it's
we're
going to happen sooner or later, right?
It is. It is. And you know, the thing is, so many people in this crisis plan where mom is getting some home health, or maybe they just went to the hospital and they're getting some rehab, you definitely need to be there, because they're under the false illusion, well, I've got plenty of time. You know, like Lindsay likes to say, the 100 days of the Medicare rehab, as Lindsay says, it's a unicorn. It does not exist, Kentuckiana. I don't know of anybody that's got the full 100 days, because typically after 20 days, they can cut you at any time. They'll usually give you a 48-hour notice on a phone call, and you're on your own.
Yeah.
And you're on your own. And then the reality really hits, because either it's take mom home, well, we can't do that. You know, it's this 2-story house. Well, you know, well, then write us a check for $9,500. Well, we don't want, well, you know, so I need to come to the workshop. Don't go broke in a nursing home, means you don't have to.
Don't go broke in a nursing home. And you know what? Advocate is a good word for it.
Yeah.
You know, you need someone representing you when your loved one enters a senior facility.
We go to bat for the families, take some of that stress off. Because usually what happens is there's one family member that's doing 99% of the work, and the other ones are just kind of not doing a lot. So we take the stress off that caregiver so they can have a life and maybe go get their hair done every now and then and not worry about the phone ringing all the time. time.
All right. So again, these workshops, very valuable information. It's worth your time. They move quickly. And Larry, yeah, you're kind of entertaining.
Kentuckiana. Monday, 10 a.m. Hilton Garden Inn on Creighton Drive, exit 132, 10 a.m. Don't go broke at nursing home. You go to freeworkshop.com. Tuesday morning for the Indiana people at the Hampton Inn on Broadway off Veterans Parkway in Clarksville at 10 a.m. You can go to freeworkshop.com or 855-LARRY55. They both answer all of life's questions. Right, Peyton?
Home run for Larry Weiss. Okay, we'll take a little break here, and then Don G will join us and tell you what's happening at 2 o'clock on Wave Country. A little preview next.